and welcome, Angelinos. We thank you for tuning in to yet another brilliant episode of the Galaxy Guy podcast, hosted by Chris Maldonado, a show made by loyal Galaxy fans for loyal Galaxy fans who bleed blue, white, and gold. So join us as we talk about the ins and outs, as well as the ups and downs of your favorite team, the one and only, the Los Angeles Galaxy.
Bienvenidos, Angelinos. Welcome back, Galaxy fans, to the Galaxy Guy podcast. Como siempre, as always, I'm your host, Chris Maldonado, and today we are bringing you all another great post-game show. Of course, we're talking about this past Saturday's game between our LA Galaxy and Sporting Kansas City in a very, very hot Keno Stadium in Tucson, Arizona. We will be breaking down the game minute by minute, highlights of that, and we will discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly. To help me do all of that is someone that all of the Galaxy fans on Reddit will recognize. He is one of the most prolific and tenured members of the RLA Galaxy subreddit on Reddit. He is a diehard Galaxy fan, down to the bone. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Heaven on Avalon himself, Nate Dotty. Nate, how are you doing tonight? How's your week, sir?
Very well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very glad to be part of this podcast. This is great. I love that we're bringing more content out to the fans, and I'm one of them. I've been relying on Reddit for a long time for my news regarding the Galaxy, and I'm very thankful for being on your podcast because I don't really do anything else. I don't have too much social. You know, I've got a couple of young kids, so that's my life.
Hey, I'm right there with you, and you know, I feel we've never actually met in person, but I feel like I've known you for many years because you've been on the Galaxy subreddit for many years. It is honestly the biggest Galaxy fandom community on the internet. There's about 7,000 active members. It's very well moderated. There's always just tons of good original Galaxy content. I mean, you know better than anyone, right? You've been on there for such a long time. But
it's hard to put it down. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Sometimes I'm up there 1 a.m. still checking stuff on Reddit, but
refresh, see what happens.
Exactly. So let's talk about Saturday's game, Nate. There's a lot to talk about, obviously. First of all, when we talk about Saturday's game, as we know, it was broadcast over LAGalaxy.com via stream, and it was geo-blocked to anyone living outside of that 90-mile radius of the Dignity Health Sports Park. It really wasn't a major issue for most, but there were plenty of people who were blocked. However, thankfully they were able to catch that game. I know you were probably one of them, Nate, because you were asking on Reddit for a streaming site. There was thankfully a very good quality, high definition stream on the Galaxy Family Discord server. They had several streams going on simultaneously, actually. And to be completely honest, I don't know if you caught that feeling, Nate, if you were there, but those streaming views, it feels kind of like a virtual viewing party, minus like, you know, the wings and the beer, right?
Correct. But it's really nice to see that organized by Galaxy fans and being promoted. I put that link out just as a general information. I figured maybe other Galaxy fan would like to know where to catch that game. I ate my shoe again because I was like, hey, what, the game's tonight, right? Like, that's at noon, buddy.
Yeah, it's at noon. Hey, let me tell you, odd time.
It was fun to catch, actually, midday, and I'm very thankful for the Galaxy community for providing so many links to being able to catch the game. And I also want to give a little shout out to all the fans that were out there on the stadium because we heard them, and that made me feel more alive than I'd been in before Easter. It was great.
Absolutely. That really stuck out to me as well, Nate, because I mean, for the fans that are listening now, of course, they know that some fans were able to attend this game. It was several hundred people actually. And even though it was just a couple hundred people and the audio on that stream was just horrendous, the quality was bad. It was very
We're,
refreshing.
we're
It was
very thankful for it. Okay, we're just very thankful for it.
You're right. You're right. I would have settled for a lot less, but it was very refreshing to hear those familiar Galaxy chants being shouted by those diehard, faithful Galaxy fans that traveled to a very, very hot Arizona, But I didn't have any trouble catching the game. I know you didn't have any trouble catching the game. Now, let's talk about the game. First of all, we had a kind of a I would say as good a starting 11 as we could have had, given the
Correct.
situation.
Correct. And I see what Vanny's doing.
Hmm.
You know, we did have some power players.
We did. We had Jonathan Bond at goal. We will be talking a lot about Jonathan Bond throughout the show. We had Jorge Villafana on that left back position. He is going to be that starting left back. We had Jalen Neal in the left center back position. We'll be talking a lot about him as well. Daniel Steres started off in that right center back position. We had Julian Araujo back from national team duty with the U23
Good to have
world
him back.
with the a qualifying team. Unfortunately, he's back earlier than expected. We won't talk about that because honestly, I still haven't recovered from that. That we will go another Olympic cycle without seeing the national team there to represent, but that's a whole separate story. Julian
Think of the
Araujo's back.
positive. Think of the positive. It's good to have him back.
The positive is that it was good to have him back. Exactly, that's right. The silver lining. In the center defensive midfield position, we had Carlos Harvey. We had Sasha Kleshton and Aguirre playing that central midfield position. On the left wing, we had Dunbar. On the right wing, we had Zubak. I have no idea why Zubak is still playing that right wing position. It's obviously not his best position. And of course, we had Chicharito up top, who will definitely be the starting striker. What was your take on this starting 11, Nate? What was your thoughts on it?
I thought it was cohesive. I thought it was a good chance in defense. I like Bonds, and I felt that we had a strong back line. For the midfield, we're looking at experience, or are we looking at age? So it kind of it's not the best that we could offer, but at the same time, it was the most experience that we could offer. And then up front, I like it. I like it. I like what we're gonna have to get it done with. I think we have good pieces,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about how the game unfolded. But it didn't let me worry too much
Yeah.
versus some of the previous preseasons where, as much as we're currently missing players, as we all know, some of the previous preseasons were like, what there was some glaring issues.
It's like you said, we made the best with what we had, right? It was for what we had, it was a solid lineup, as solid as we could have had. Now, let's get into the minute by minute. I wrote down some highlights as I was watching the game, wrote the notes, some key moments in the game that stuck out. Now, very early on in that second minute, Jonathan Bond came in big for us, and I mean big. He had a big save almost right from the start of the game. Luis Martin, who actually I think he plays left wing or he's a left back for Sporting Kansas City, had that long volley from like 20 yards outside the box, and it's one of those weird shots. They can really catch a goalkeeper off guard because it's one of those dipping shots. The goalkeeper, as they're backing up, they don't know whether that ball is going over the bar or it's going to dip last minute and go into the goal. So very challenging save to make, but Jonathan Bond made it. He came in big for us, hit it right over the bar. And I mean, we'll talk about Jonathan Bond in detail, but that was really fantastic to see. Very smart to do that. The fifth minute, right around the fifth minute, I noticed that things were pretty equal, right? Very early on, it
Okay,
seemed
but
like,
can we just go back to that Bond save for a
sure.
second because I I knew we were going to be rotating squads anyway.
Hmm.
Starting with Bonds and off the bat to make that save, I I am starting to gain confidence in a position that the Galaxy have not had solid quality players in a long time,
Yeah.
and that brought uh, so much peace that had gone missing, from my soul, because we had Swiss cheese. No offense to Swiss or the cheese, um, in goalie for a long time. When you think of Diop, what would Diop have done in this condition?
Yeah.
So
I mean, like I
it's
said,
worth.
we'll talk a lot about Jonathan Bond coming up, but you're absolutely right. There is a sense of peace that has come from having him back there. And I know it's still early, it's still preseason, right? We're not seeing what he's truly capable of, but these glimpses we've seen here and there of what Jonathan Bond's been doing so far, I feel peace in my heart, man. I feel you there, Nate. But
The decision making is there, the
yeah,
anticipation is there. There's a sense of leadership coming out of that goalkeeping position
yeah.
that can direct a back line. Anyway, like you said, we'll merge through that again.
Moving towards minute 11. Now we have to talk about this. Um, right around minute 11, Chicharito had kind of a bad pass. It could have ended a lot worse because it was like a pretty bad turnover in a bad position. The defense wasn't really where they should have been. Um, Chicharito wasn't that hot on the ball for the first couple minutes. Minute 17, minute 17, Chicharito got a big chance, an enormous chance, possibly, I would say, the best chance of the game. He got a filtered pass straight into the box from Sasha Kleshten. No defenders whatsoever within like 3 or 4 feet of him. Chicharito straight down the middle, only the goalkeeper to beat, and he shoots it straight into the bar. And it was one of those moments where I could just see the frustration. I could feel the frustration. It should have been a goal, Nate. It should have been a goal. What
We
was
all
your
know that.
what
We
was
all
your
know. We all
take?
know. We all know that. But I think that I, I I've given players a lot of grief before, especially DPS, because you know you're earning that money. But unfortunately for Chicharito, it's not the goalkeeping that's preventing him from scoring. It's the crossbar. It's the post. It's he's he's playing pinball, and unfortunately, as a fan, you'd hate to see that because it's a game of inches, and
It really is.
and,
It
and
really is.
really that should have been goal.
And I think for the most part the fan base is still willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's still early, it's still preseason. I mean, the guy's been working out like crazy. He's been eating
Correct.
healthy. He's been out
Correct.
there working out even before the season started. So we're still giving him the benefit of the doubt, but that honestly should have been a goal. Any other striker of his caliber in MLS
Back of the net.
earning
Back
the
of the net.
salary that he's earning would have made that. Hell, I think I would have made that if I was out there, to be honest with you, man. It seemed like such a simple ball.
we
But
can we can go on we can go on and talk about
yeah.
how the ball was fed to him. Did he catch it off balance? Did he catch it for the wrong in the air? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Is the touch bad? Is the feed bad? Is it bad luck?
It,
There's so many things. So maybe we'll
in
dissect that more later.
in my country, real quick before we move on from the Chicharito thing, in my country we have a saying called "El perico donde sea es verde," right? Which means it roughly translates to the parrot is green no matter where it is, right? So we can talk about the pitch was bad, this and that. Like he should have made that goal, but We'll talk about Chicharito again further down the line. Moving on, minute 19, we had another chance just 2 minutes after that. Zubac had this attempted volley. I don't know what he was trying to do. The idea was right, but the execution was really poor. He sent that ball, he just shot it straight out. I don't know. I don't think that ball has landed yet. It's somewhere still out there in Tucson. It might be somewhere near the Grand Canyon by now, but it wasn't so good.
It's in Florida now. It's in Florida.
Right. Minute 24, Sasha also had a big chance. There was a big chance. I think it was Dunbar who crossed that straight in. There was no defenders around. For some reason, it was kind of like the SKC defenders went in opposite directions of where the ball was going. Sasha made this run straight into the box by himself, and all he had to do was either chip Tim Melia or go left or right and score that goal very easily. Unfortunately, he didn't. It was a very weak shot right down the middle, and Tim Melia stopped it. So
maybe your listener will hate me, and maybe I'll play devil's advocate, but it was a weird bounce.
Possibly. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
I don't think he anticipated anything near it, and he tried to make the best of it. Now, I'm always the glasses half full kind of guy, most of the time, and it really felt like Sasha felt worse about missing that than Chicharito felt about missing that open one.
True.
And I don't know exactly what kind of chemistry there is, because I felt like there was good ball movement.
There was. That first half was competitive. The LA Galaxy was competitive for the most part. It wasn't a complete lineup. There was a lot of kids out there. And at times, their inexperience really did show. But for the most part, the Galaxy was competitive. They had a lot of good chances. Right around the 26th minute, Jonathan Bond had another big save. After that, the first half was pretty much very uneventful. Right around the 30th minute mark, the Galaxy and SKC did take a water break. It just had to happen. I think the temperature in Arizona was about 95 degrees at that time. It's the middle of the day. You got to keep that in mind. So the boys needed their hydration. The rest of the first half was pretty much uneventful. Moving on into the second half, there was some substitutions in the second half. There was several, I think it was about half the team basically that got subbed out. Jonathan Bond went out.
Correct.
Klinsmann came in. Steres went out. DPU came on. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, because it's not the first time I've been told that I pronounce Depuis incorrectly.
That's it. Depuis.
You're French, Nate. You tell me, how do you pronounce that name? Is it French?
Yes, you would pronounce it Depuis.
Depuis. Okay. Depuis. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Depuis came on. Sasha came out. Davila came on for him. Carlos Harvey went out. Saldana came on. Chicharito went out. He only played first half. Augie Williams came on for him. Zubac was out. I think Zubac was out. Perez came in. And then we had that 46-minute goal. We have to talk about the goal. It was a very, very awkward goal. I want to give the boys the benefit of the doubt, but what was your thought on that goal, Nate?
Well, tell me this. Do you like the Galaxy after that goal? Or do you not like the Galaxy after that goal?
I thought the defense was very weak on that, because they, I think I can't recall which Galaxy player it was. They got nutmegged, and the ball just went right straight through two defenders. Great individual effort by Gianluca Basio, by the way. He's a fantastic young player. It's one of those shots where he went straight where he needed to go. That top left corner, Jonathan Klinsmann was in the position where there was no way he was going to get that ball. There was no way he was getting that ball. He was He was in that first post. There's no way he reached. He would have to be 7 feet tall to get that ball. So
I
do
felt it was such an incredible individual effort by the striker.
mhm.
And I don't want to take that away from him, because that spin and that kick, that was good. That was unexpected, like
Absolutely.
and
I don't think anyone was expecting that
I
shot. Jonathan
I
Klinsmann wasn't expecting that shot.
nowhere near.
Mhm.
So it's kind of one of those goals that gets scored, and you have to respond to it. I don't think the defense was necessarily that bad, but um, I don't think by that point the defense had necessarily been that good either. I don't
Yeah.
think Sporting Kansas City played that well, to be honest with you. I don't think we played that bad given our lineup, but that goal changed that dynamic.
It really
And
did. It really did. And that second half was a big hit and miss, right? Actually 2 minutes right after that goal, the minute 48, the Galaxy had a big chance. There was that lobbed ball from Jorge Villafana. It was a great pass to Augie Williams. Augie Williams was almost entirely by himself on that left side. He did a great job getting up there, but honestly, the execution was very poor by Augie Williams. He could have easily chipped Tim Melia, or he could have tried to dance around him somehow, but he had a weak shot to the right. Tim Melia easily stopped it. One of the biggest chances for the Galaxy in the second half, and there really weren't many chances right after that. You
correct,
know,
correct.
right around the 50th minute mark, I did notice the dynamic in the defense changed a lot, right? With Steris out of the picture. I did notice that Jalen was very calm and composed, even at 17. Um, he sort of became the default leader in that back line for a moment there. I don't know if you caught that, but he just seemed very calm and collected. Now, obviously, he's 17.
That's it.
He
I
he's
don't think he needed to be a leader, but he just kept composure,
Mhm.
and that was enough to remind people how to do their job.
Yeah, and it's very surprising for such a young player. He's 17 years old. 17 years old, still technically a kid, has a long way to go to develop, right? But usually, what you see with young defenders is you have pressure from a opposing player. You tend to panic and just shoot the ball, right, or try to get rid of the ball as fast as possible. What I saw from Jalen was he took his time, scanned the field, tried to find the best possible pass. I
Correct.
was I was very
Correct.
impressed with him that second half. Um, Again, it's preseason. He's a young player, has a lot of development to go through. He did play 90 minutes. I think he was the only player that played 90 minutes, which I think might say something about how much money the Galaxy's placing on him. Like, how much stock they're placing on him, to develop and play significant minutes this season. So that kind of stood
I
out to
hope,
me.
yeah, I hope the Galaxy, I mean, and it feels like the Galaxy are putting a better premium on the G2 guys, and they're giving
Absolutely.
them their chances, and I think that's fair. Before, it felt like it was that opportunity was stifled,
Yeah.
and to have so many young kids, I know we have
Players
uh,
to sign.
a lot, yes, correct, but at the same time, we have a lot of players to develop, and they're getting some good touches right now.
Yeah.
We may see them in the Open Cup. We may see some being pulled up, and I'm totally not against that as long as I get to see them in the track and field stadium.
Absolutely. There's there's
But
a there's a lot of players that stood out to me, young players that stood out. We'll talk about who some of those players were a little bit down the line. Just moving forward with the minute by minute, right around minute 58, Dunbar and Villafana we're done. They needed substitutions out. It's a very good sign to see, Nate, that Villafania played 58 minutes this time around, because you remember on Wednesday he played 30 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then
Played a
he
short game. He played a very short game.
played a very short game. It was precautionary because he is coming off an injury. So the fact that he played 58 minutes in this game is a very good sign, and it means he's on the right track. He's making progress with his injury, and I wouldn't be surprised if on Wednesday we see him play maybe just a little bit more. And then obviously by the time of the season opener, he might be a full 90 type of player. So Dunbar and Villafania came out. I thought Dunbar had kind of a quiet night in comparison to, the level he's played in the last couple of preseason games.
If Villafania can do 60 and 60 for Wednesday and Saturday, because we're talking back to back to back games.
True.
If he can hold past the second half, I'm good. We can rotate it. This is still preseason. There's no rush.
True.
Yeah.
And we saw Kai and Kai Koreniuk and Josh Drack come on for those two. I'll be honest with you. After those two guys came on, they immediately seemed to inject some life into that team. The offense kind of seemed to start. Well, the entire line really pushed forward, right? And the team started attacking again, which was very, very refreshing to see.
We were playing much higher in the middle of the second half that I anticipated with that rotation, and it was good to see, like you said, fresh legs with some confidence, not just young kids to fill in the position, but something to prove.
Absolutely. I'm very, very impressed so far, and we'll touch on this a little bit more. But I'm very impressed with Kai and Josh Drack. So I'm glad they came on, because it at that point the team really needed to continue pushing, because it had kind of compressed into the back line. Right around minute 63, SKC had, I honestly didn't count them, but they had about 6 or 8 substitutions that came on right at the same time. I can't name all those players. All I know is that Roger Espinoza was one of them, and I'll be honest with you guys out there. He's one of the guys in MLS that I dislike the most. Listen, he's a fellow Central American like myself, right? And I'm super proud of what he's doing in MLS and the long career that he's had in MLS. I'm super proud of him for that. But I dislike Roger Espinoza with a passion. I would say he's right up there with what was this guy that played for FC Dallas, the Panamanian guy that used to do this, Blas Perez, was it? God, I don't like that guy. But anyway, I digress. They had 6 to 8 subs right around there. It really did switch the tempo of the game. Obviously, you have almost an entirely brand new team coming on the pitch, fresh legs. The game kind of got a little disorganized at that point. Really only some few highlights in that second half. I know right around the 70th minute mark, SKC had a very clear shot at goal. I think the player was Cam Duke. Took a shot which was luckily deflected. I think it deflected off of Jalen Neal's leg, and it was like a last second save, and it went right outside the box, right outside the bar. I mean, and thankfully it didn't go in.
Klinsmann didn't have a shot on it.
No, Klinsmann didn't, but it definitely would have gone in had it not been for that last second deflection, and I'm pretty sure that was Jalen Neal who did that. So that was it. That was most of the highlights, the things that really stuck out to me from that 90 minutes. Let's talk about a little segment in my post-game shows that I want to do, called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Now, for copyright reasons, I'm 1,000% sure I can't edit that sound into the video. The iconic The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly whistle. But I think Nate is... There we go.
We'll do it like that.
We'll do it like that. Nate was nice enough to offer to do it for us. So there you go. That's our intro to the next segment. which will
We'll
be
make a
called.
soundbite with my voice so you can keep that. I think you can't copyright some. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a guest.
So there you have it, folks. On the Galaxy Guy podcast, we do our sound bites straight from our own mouths. The good,
In
the bad, and
house.
the ugly. In
It's all in
house.
house.
All in house.
It's all DIY.
So Nate, let's start with the good. Okay. I saw some good things out there from this game. First of all, Jonathan Bond. Jonathan Bond continues to make a very strong case for not only being the best goalkeeper the Galaxy has had since I don't know, Jaime Pinedo, but he's also making a really strong case for perhaps being one of the top goalkeepers in MLS this season. Of course, it's still preseason. It's super early to make that judgment in earnest, but what I've seen so far, Nate, I think he's the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. We have a goalkeeper.
I've seen a guy
what are your
make
thoughts?
decisions.
What
I've
are your
seen a guy
thoughts?
make decisions before the ball was kicked, and to make the right decision, and that was so impressive because that that little trot back before that first early save in the first half was really impressive. He got his fingers on it, saved us from an early goal, could have completely altered the game. We haven't seen a goalie having that maturity to make those calls and say, I'm committing to this because that's a shot. That's the only shot that guy has, or that's the crazy shot that's coming at me. I think that I'm very convinced that it's going to be hard for any other goalkeeper in our squad to take his position.
It's his. The position is his. I'm sure that's like concrete. From what I've seen so far, thoroughly impressed by Jonathan Bond. Moving on to some other good things I saw. The kids continue to impress me, Nate. Guys like Jalen Neal has been impressive to me, considering that he's only 17, has a lot of developing to do. He has miles still of growth to do, but he's showing a ton of potential. And I think the potential ceiling for him is high. And I mean, physically, he's an imposing player. He's 6'1", 6'2". He's got some weight to put on, but I did do an interview with him a couple weeks ago. He is committed to putting on some weight. He is hitting the weights, so I think there's a lot of potential there with him. Dunbar had a quiet night for the most part, but he is showing a ton of promise as well. Guys like Johnny Perez, Kai Koreniuk has impressed the offense. He's dangerous when he gets the ball. He's not afraid to take on players. Josh Jack is very dynamic. He's quick. He's pacey. He can pass. He's he's good on the ball. Traditionally not a left back, but he's showing a ton of promise. Were there any other standouts for you, Nate, that you saw and thought, wow, this player has some potential?
No, but I will take the 30,000-foot approach and saying as a group, I've seen a group of Galaxy. They're not playoff contenders, okay? We're not talking that they're super sharp and they're gonna all get their shot at the Premier League. I'm talking about a group of guys that are all still working out a few things, but that together have put passes and in the second half was very disjointed. I think on both sides of the game, both teams, it wasn't the prettiest thing to watch towards the end, but we had guys stepping up, playing the ball, making better decision that I've seen Galaxy squad made over the past 5 years.
Sure.
Overall, you see growth, and you want to say, okay, I trust the process now.
True. Yeah. No. Listen. We're not under any delusion. I think there's a lot of reasonable Galaxy fans out there. I know there's a couple of Galaxy fans that just want to see MLS Cups every season, right? But I feel that for the most part, we're all on the same page that, there's a lot of potential with this group. We're not there yet. Like you said it, this is not an MLS Cup winning team yet. It could be. But there's definitely a lot of diamonds in the rough in this group. So I agree with that. Now, let's talk about the bad, right, Nate? Because we have to talk about the bad. To me, the really, really bad of this game was Chicharito missed an open shot almost entirely by himself on an almost entirely open goal, just Tim Melia in front of him in an awkward position. Chicharito was mostly isolated the entire first half. He had a couple of bad passes. Some more of the bad that I saw. Sasha missed two clear chances at goal. It just this team really is having a hard time finishing. The one play that Dunbar crossed the ball into the box and the entire SKC defense was asleep.
Oh, yes. Yes, that was a toughie.
It was just weak shots. It was inaccurate shots. The other shot that Sasha brought down on his chest inside the box, he was alone in front of goal, just Melia in his way, and he shot the ball straight into the moon. Zubak missed a few, as did others. Augie missed one, and we're still struggling to find those goals.
Correct. So I feel that both Zubak and Williams had average games, but unfortunately, I feel that we've given Zubak's incredible game his standards, and I don't think he's been performing that well. That's just my take.
Yeah.
He's present in the offense. I am not saying that he's necessarily a bad. He doesn't have the experience. He still plays with the technique and everything, but
It's mental, I believe, with Zubak, because what I've seen from him is that he's physically he's a good player, right? He has pace. He seems to know how to dribble the ball well enough, right? I mean, this is not Lionel Messi we're talking about, but he seems to know what to do with the ball at his feet. Might not have the best first touch, might not be the most agile, but he's a good physical soccer player. He just lacks this, I believe, which is the mentality of a striker that is hungry for goals. He seems to still be able to not finish, right? That's kind of been the case and the story for Zubak since we first started seeing him with the first team. It's he lacks that ability to finish or do something with the ball when he has the chance. So, the team as a whole is really struggling to find goals right now. And again, I know some fans out there will say, well, Chris, it's still preseason. Give them the benefit of the doubt. We're still missing a lot of players. It's not a complete team. Fair enough. We'll give them that.
I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine with all of that. I want to make sure that we do see flashes of what can happen, and it felt like maybe this was a bad game. Okay, maybe this was a bad game.
Yeah,
because we had good overall. We had an overall. This might sound very European. We overall had not a bad game. Not good, but not bad. I don't think KC had a good game. They had a not better game than us.
Listen, this game could have easily ended 0-0 had it not been for that amazing individual effort by Gianluca Busio. This game also could have ended 2-2. It could have ended 3-3, right? I mean, it was one of those games. It's like the textbook preseason game, right?
Correct. So you have 45 to answer that goal, and you take out Chicha. You bring in some new kids. They were that cohesive, but they weren't bad. I think they could have been stripped more. They did handle the ball pretty well for professionals, but not for StubHub.
Now, I did get word that Chicharito was actually dealing with a cold last week. And Greg Vanny had previously said that he had kind of been dealing with a little of I think it was like a muscular discomfort. He just, so that's why they're kind of playing it safe. It's their star striker, it's their $7 million man. Do you really want to risk his legs in a preseason game in Arizona in 95-degree weather when the muscles tend to act a little weird under that weather, right? So we'll see. But honestly,
That's why I was counting on Steres. That was my man.
hey, that would have been nice to have a header from Steris and have a goal, right? At the very least, give that to the fans who made the effort to travel all the way to Arizona. But those were to me the bad, right? The bad from the game. Now let's talk about the ugly, because we have to talk about the ugly. Obviously, the ugly is the fact that we've had back-to-back losses, okay? And the guys just can't seem to finish goals. Back-to-back losses doesn't feel good. Um, we really we're in a position as Galaxy fans where we definitely need to see some wins. Again, I know people that are watching this right now, they'll say it's preseason, dude. Chillax, relax. Don't get on it so bad, right? But we do want to see some wins, and back-to-back losses really hurts. What were your ugliness? What were your ugly takes from this, Nate?
We showed our ugly. We showed our age.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it felt like our older legs that are supposed to be our support and our experience were not there to score. And unfortunately, they're kind of going to be an important part of what the Galaxy organization wants to do if it wants to reach beyond just the MLS and get some open cups, so we can have some rotation, some different tournaments that we can get our hands on. Because I personally believe that the Galaxy should be competing in as many tournaments as they can, except for those exhibition, the international thing.
Those meaningless tournaments, right? The champions, whatever they're calling it now. Listen, it's just another excuse for players to get tired, fatigued, and possibly injured, right? I mean, that's why Bruce Arena never took those types of tournaments very seriously. Rightfully so.
Correct, and I've inherited that mentality from him.
Yeah. So those 90 minutes, Nate, we talked about the good, we talked about the bad, we talked about the ugly. Who was your man of the match that entire game? Who was the most outstanding player for the LA Galaxy? If you were to pick a man of the match, who would that be?
I'd give it to Bonds just because of that first impression. To have a position solidify in my mind is very gratifying. It happened so early in the game. I felt that from that point on, I could trust him at the helm, and I almost feel like you'd rather have him as captain than somebody else. It felt like he was just in charge. And honorable mention given to the Galaxy 2 guys that came in and played. They played. Yeah. They didn't play MLS, but they played there, and they showed some IQ. They showed some good things. We didn't get scored on after that.
Listen, I don't think you'll find a lot of people who will disagree with you, Nate, and I would have a hard time disagreeing with you about man of the match being Jonathan Bond. And like you said, you're spot on. He shows a lot of leadership. He's very vocal. We saw that in I think it was 2 games past the Spectrum broadcast. He was very vocal. A lot of players have said as much. They're saying, you know what, he's very vocal. He's giving direction from the back. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing our goalkeeper as the captain this season. And I really do hope that our coaching staff recognizes that, because, Jonathan Dos Santos, he's got the experience, he's got the pedigree, but I don't think he's been very known to be vocal. Chicharito, he's vocal, but he's more of like, I'm frustrated at you right now, and I'm gonna yell at you. That type of vocal.
That's a Zlatan vocal. That's a striker vocal.
Right, which is necessary sometimes. I mean, Robbie Keane, I mean, right? But it's necessary sometimes. But I think this team could benefit a lot more from the leadership, the type of leadership that Jonathan Bond brings to the team. Now, I wouldn't disagree with you on Jonathan Bond, but my man of the match was actually Jalen Neal. Um,
Good
now,
choice. Good choice.
let me just say, listen, I know he's still super young. I said that like three times now, but he's far from a finished product. Had a handful of rookie mistakes in these last couple games that we've seen him, which is 100% expected from a 17-year-old playing their first pro season, right? I mean, it's still preseason. It's expected. But he continues to show that he has very, very high potential ceiling. And he seems much older and mature when it comes to his composure. A lot of young defenders tend to just blast the ball, and as soon as they're threatened or pressed, Jalen remains calm and instead of quickly just getting rid of the ball, he scans the pitch. I've noticed that, and he tries to make the best possible pass. I think he has decent ball distribution, and it showed. He played 90 minutes this past game, and he had some outstanding saves. So to me, he was man of the match. And I don't think there's a lot of people out there who would argue that. It was definitely between your pick, Jonathan Bond, and Jalen Neal. They were standouts in my opinion.
Oh, I think you're right on because I wouldn't have been able to articulate my case for Neal like you did, but he stood out to me. And it was like I said, that's why I wanted to give honorable mention to the kids. You saw him do things at a professional level. Yeah. Not everything, but that he is already doing things at a professional level. You don't have to wait on some of those things, and I mean, maybe not to get away from it, but on maybe a third place, it was good to see Arroyo back.
Araujo was decent.
Araujo was excuse my pronunciation.
No, it's totally okay.
It was great to see him in our uniform. It was great to see him active, and he same thing. It was kind of a quiet presence to have him, and we're if we can keep him.
I don't know if I was alone in this, Nate, but at times he seemed kind of bored with the game. It might just be that he's like mentally strained from being with the national team and going through what they just went through recently, which is going to sting really, really badly. I mean, it stung badly for fans, right? I can only imagine how badly that stung to be a player in that group that is now, not even going to even be in the I don't need to repeat it, right? We all know the U.S. men's national team is not going to the Olympics. Araujo looked like a guy who was a little bit down on the dumps, and he looked bored with this game. He obviously played decent. He had a great game. He made some good runs, made some good passes, made some good defensive moves, but I would say he was very good in third place.
And in support of what you're saying, I agree that he had some lapses, some mental lapses that I saw that I was just like, oh, that's okay, well, it's preseason, he's coming back and everything. He just brings a level of talent that we need, and
absolutely.
And I want his mind to come back to the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, I'm once again very, very, very Bruce Arena in the sense of please go to the national team, get that experience under your belt, get as much experience internationally as you can, but bring it back to the Galaxy and bring that back to the club and to that crest. But it's the preseason. We can
he has time
dissect this.
Julian Araujo has time to come back from that, right? So he has to put aside the failure of the national team. He has to detach himself from the failure of the national team because that level of failure can sometimes break a player, right? Not completely, not entirely for the rest of forever, but we don't want him to remain attached to that failure. Julian Araujo, and I'm saying this now, I hope Julian is listening to this, he needs to detach himself from the failure of the national team. He needs to move past that mentally, and he needs to come back to us, to the LA Galaxy. He's here physically, but he needs to come back to us mentally so that he could be successful in this 2021 season. But that's just my take on it, Nate. I mean,
No,
it's
if he's listening, I hope he's listening, and I just want to tell him, Julian, we love you. Stay with us. We want to see you grow for a couple more years in Southern California. I know you're going to want to spread your wings one day, but
oh, he will. Yeah, he
yes,
will.
of course, the talent is there. But give us a couple more years, because we lost 2020 like everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every player lost 2020. So just give that one back.
Listen, I'm okay when Julian Araujo leaves if he leaves LA with at least 2 rings on his fingers. Fair
Exactly.
enough, right? Fair enough.
Exactly.
So, Julian, you're more than welcome to go to Europe, wherever you want to go, as long as you leave with 2 rings on your fingers. Okay, fair enough.
Deal.
Deal. So, moving past Saturday's game, Nate, we just today, about an hour or so before we hit record on this show, the Galaxy posted a video of Victor Vasquez training in a Galaxy kit. Now, it was no surprise. I confirmed it. I was the first one to confirm it on social media because I spoke directly with Victor Vasquez that day that he was on his way to Arizona on Thursday. So he did arrive. He obviously didn't play because he just, for whatever precautionary reason, but he is training with the team now. At the very least, training by himself off to the side. I don't know if he's still going through some sort of quarantine, but it was very good to see that video. I don't know if you caught that. It was like a 10-second clip on Galaxy social media. It was Victor Vasquez in a Galaxy training kit moving off the ball. Did you see that, Nate?
That's just one more piece to add to the equation. I want him to be training onto the side as soon as he can, just to get used to other players' voices.
Yeah.
I know it sometimes sounds like, well, why you want to be on the side and just doing his own. You want to hear the other guys. You want to hear the energy that you want to see what the coach is doing, and he has good leadership. I mean,
yeah.
I am so happy that he's gonna. I think he's gonna with Greg. He's gonna bring a lot of potential to the team.
Listen, and I'll admit this. And I caught some flack for this, especially from Kevin Gonzalez. If you're listening, dude, we had him on last week. He broke my balls about this, to be honest. And pardon my pardon my phrase there, but when Victor Vasquez was rumored, right, I was very critical of that rumor, of that decision, because the last I knew of Victor Vasquez was that he had gone to Qatar. And as we know, anytime a player goes to either China, India, or Qatar, or somewhere in the Middle East, they basically fall off the face of the earth and they become unknown in the soccer world, right? So that was the last I knew of him. When I rechecked on his career after the rumors circled, it wasn't impressive. It was like, he had played, I think, 14 games total in like 2 years. And he had bounced around 3 different teams, So in my mind, it was like, this guy's 34, had some injuries, hasn't played a lot, even, in subpar competitions. So I was very critical of that move. And then as I saw more and more of what he was doing off to the side on his own, he was still training, staying active. He has a personal trainer and everything. And after speaking to him face to face over Zoom, after speaking to him and listening to how confident he sounded genuinely confident. He sounded like he was still confident in his ability. I asked him if he still felt sharp. He said, listen, I still feel sharp. I still have a lot to give. I'm ready to go. He was eager. He's just ready to hit the ground running. So it was very infectious, just to hear him talk like that. And it made me a believer. Now I'm very excited to see him play. It really honestly sounds like he's going to play a big role in this team. From what it sounds like. So let's just pray that his legs hold out, and let's pray that he really does still have a lot in the tank to give. Right, Nate?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope he plays a really good part of this team. I think just in leadership, just in providing some experience in the and really all around the field, So I think this is a good move from the Galaxy, and I know time will tell. Hindsight will always be 2020, but you're looking at chemistry. You're looking at talent and chemistry. So you're putting the thread of 35-year-old on the field, but you know that those tires have seen some great games.
True.
And that those kids, what Greg is trying to do with them is are going to benefit. And this is kind of an investment for the future, and to invest in the past, to invest into the future.
And it makes a lot of sense now that I'm seeing these new young midfielders for the LA Galaxy, and I can see how much they're going to benefit from having a guy like Victor Vasquez playing alongside them, training and all. So it's very exciting. It's very good news to see that. He wasn't the only one, by the way, that posted a video of him training in his new Galaxy training kit. We also got our new player, our new right wing, Samuel Grandsir. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Nate, you're French. Can you please clarify to the listeners, how do you properly pronounce that last name? Is it Grandsir? Grandsir? How do you pronounce it?
For all intents and purposes, Grandsir.
Grandsir, right? Like the R is silent.
It's just, don't try to roll it.
Grandsir.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. It just kind of rolls off the tongue. Okay.
Yes.
So he was also training. We don't know what extent that training is, whether or not he's actively training with the first team. We know that he's been stateside for a while now, so he might not be in quarantine anymore. But he was in his new Galaxy kit. He posted a selfie. That's also very exciting to see, because honestly, we need the offensive firepower. I mean, we talked about it, right, Nate? This team is struggling to score goals. They're struggling to get up there. So having Grandsir with the team now, phenomenal news, right?
Great news. Great news. We're putting solid pieces, I think, into what we were missing. And into question marks. I think every Galaxy fan wants to hang on to I think that we all want the talent that Pavone could bring to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But I personally feel that it's as an organization, we're not going to take that kind of liability.
No, I don't think so either. And that kind of ties into our final piece here. But Christian Pavone is most likely not coming to the LA Galaxy again anytime soon, at the very least not this season, because of our next potential transfer, which most people are reporting to be accurate, right? Of course, I'm talking about the transfer rumor of Kevin Cabral, who's also a young French winger. He's about 21, I believe. It has just about been confirmed, as per multiple reputable French sources and local sources. Let me just say, it's amazing to be living in this day and age where you can translate entire articles from any language into English or Spanish in mere seconds. Because to be honest, I mean, I don't need to tell you, Nate, my French is limited to oui, bonjour, and baguette. Now, I'm sorry, but
you can survive. You can survive with that. You're good.
Listen, I'll stick with the Spanish and the English. And anytime I have a question, anything in French, if I see any articles from now on, they're all going through you, Nate. Okay, please.
No problem. My Spanish is very limited, but I have a vested interest for my kids to learn it, because first they can tell me, and then we're in California. This is, if you remember, Landon Donovan is bilingual. Like, if you're gonna play on our pitch, you need to understand that this is going to have a lot of cultures. You want to be able to understand as many languages as you can because you don't want to be fooled by anybody.
Absolutely. It's very important to be bilingual. Um, but back onto the subject of Kevin Cabral.
Oh yes.
What we know of him so far is obviously it's been reported multiple times by different sources at this point. So most people have seen his highlights. They know what he's about. He's dynamic, right? He knows how to score goals. He knows how to pass the ball. He's quick. He's agile,
He's athletic. He's young. He's creative.
athletic, young, creative. This is a solid pickup, and it's being reported basically as a done deal by now. The sources that are reporting this are basically saying it's a done deal. It's a $5 million transfer fee, according to multiple sources. 5 million euro transfer fee, right? I think this is a good move, but
I think this is a great move.
if this is true, if this move is true, and they announce it, let's say Monday, right? Because it's also been reported that he didn't play this last weekend for his team. Um, Please clarify the name of the team, Nate, for the listeners and for myself. How do you pronounce that team?
How do you pronounce it?
I would say Valenciennes. Is that
Close enough. Valenciennes.
See, it just and French really is the language of lovers. Everything just sounds so romantic when you say it.
Okay.
Valenciennes. So
There you go.
he didn't play for his team this past weekend, and he's not injured, right? It's not a confirmed injury. He was left off the roster, and it's been reported that he flew to LA today, this Sunday. So this might be announced as early as tomorrow. It might be announced sometime in the middle of the week. Hopefully it gets announced on Monday, but who knows? So what we're saying now is that this deal is about 99% done, right? We're just waiting on them to basically announce it. So what this
If we're
means,
if we're honest, I think we know the Galaxy won't really announce anything for a week until after the deal has been
a week
confirmed.
before
We're,
a week before the home opener.
exactly. Just a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
surprise, but we know we know to come to you for our sources. It's pretty much it's good.
It's
Right?
good. We'll keep an eye on that social media. But
But
what
what does
this
that mean?
what this means for the LA Galaxy, and specifically what it means for Christian Pavon, it means he's not coming, right? Because if it's true that the LA Galaxy paid 5 million euros for his transfer fee, Kevin Cabral is a left winger. That's his primary position. Okay. The LA Galaxy is not going to pay $5 million for Kevin Cabral to play left winger, only to then go ahead and pay 10 plus million for Christian Pavon, who also plays the exact same position, right? It would make no sense.
You don't see Pavone being brought in to the Galaxy too?
I could see his brother and his cousin being brought to Galaxy too, which is I think what they did when they both came, right? Is
Right.
Rodrigo
Right.
Pavon. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I think if this gets announced on Monday, we can all just basically forget Christian Pavon ever played for the LA Galaxy. It's a done deal. He came and he went. He's never going to be a Galaxy player again. He's going to stay at Boca and potentially play a season there and then go somewhere in Europe, right? But there's no way that $5 million for this player means he's a backup to Pavon. Sorry,
No
but
way. No
that's
way.
that's
not
just
not at that age. Not that age.
not at that age and not at that price range. He's definitely going to be either a high TAM player or he's going to fall in under the new young designated player. So he might be a young DP. We'll have to wait and see how that looks. But basically a done deal. I think we can all agree it's a good move.
And I hope for all Galaxy fans that we actually get an announcement Monday or Tuesday. That'd be great.
That would be great. And speaking of this upcoming week, we do have a game coming up, and that is this Wednesday, April 7th 3 p.m., which is such a weird time. I have no idea why they decided 3 p.m. I'll still be at work. I'll hopefully catch the game on my phone. I know a lot of people are still going to be at work at 3 p.m. So you know what? Just alt tab. If you're geo blocked, go on to the Galaxy Discord. That's the Galaxy Family Discord. They always have streamers there. It's always dozens and dozens of people watching there. It's awesome. That's also at Keno Stadium in Tucson, Arizona. That's against the Colorado Rapids. So this honestly, Nate, this should be a must-win game. Like this should be an easy win, but Colorado is always one of those like trap games. Um, we'll see how the LA Galaxy does there, right?
We'll see who we have back. If we have legit back, if we have our midfield back, if we have Efron back. I think this is interesting because we have so we play Kansas, we're gonna do Colorado, and then we're gonna do Salt Lake. So
Salt Lake, that's right. And the Salt Lake game is Saturday, April 7th. So really not a lot of time there between games. Expect Wednesday to be a combination of a few starters and a lot of the young kids again. Saturday, I think, is the game where we're going to see a lot more of our guys back, and I think it's kind of a good time, 5 p.m. It's Saturday, so they might want to put on a much better show for the fans. So expect to see most of the starters on that Saturday game. And again, both of these games are going to be streamed on the LA Galaxy website. Again, if you're geo-blocked, there are options. Go to reddit.com and go to the LA Galaxy subreddit. There will be links there for the Discord server. But as it stands, I think that's pretty much, I would say we covered just about everything. Would you say, Nate?
yeah, I think we're good.
I think
I hope
we're good.
everybody had a good time.
I hope so too. I hope that hope you had a good time, man. It was a pleasure having you on, Nate. I appreciate that you accepted the invite. I did say very early on when I started this podcast was born on Reddit, right? That's where I come from. That's my home base is Reddit. I honestly consider that like my second family. A couple years ago I was on there 24/7. So I did say to myself, I want to have this show be an open platform for multitude of different Galaxy creators, mega fans, active users on Reddit. So it's been a pleasure having you on. I hope to have more of these well-known Galaxy contributors on Reddit onto the show.
I hope to see their faces too. I hope to discover who some of these guys are too. I hope that we can get a rotating panel of Reddit Hall of Famers.
Listen, I'll have you back on, Nate, because you have a good soccer brain, man, and I know you know. And hey, we're gonna have a lot of we have a lot of French players on the team this season, so we're gonna need that French insight. So.
And listen, in a few months, I might actually have the studio back, so it'll be a lot better for the sound.
Hey, even better, right? So, but as it is, open invite to anyone. Just hit me up, reach out to me, let me know. Hey, listen, I want to be on the show. I want to talk about the Galaxy, dude. Talking about the Galaxy is the highlight of my week, right? So from Chris Maldonado, from Nate Dotty, Mr. Heaven on Avalon himself, we thank all the fans for tuning in this week. Let's pray and hope that the LA Galaxy gets a win on Wednesday and they get another win on Saturday to kind of get the train rolling for that home opener. But we appreciate the viewership, guys. Have yourselves a good rest of your week. It'll be a lot better after that win on Wednesday. But stay tuned. We'll see you guys. Chris Maldonado. Love you guys.
Dotty, have a great evening, guys. Cheers.
Right on. So then I this is where I do the outro, and then